If you have lost a husband or a wife, I need you to hear this, because it may put real money back in your pocket. When a spouse passes away, Social Security does not just stop. In many cases, the surviving husband or wife is owed a larger monthly check, sometimes hundreds of dollars more, every single month for the rest of their life. And here is the heartbreaking part. A great many widows and widowers never claim the full amount they are entitled to, either because no one ever told them or because they did not know the right way to ask. So they quietly get by on a smaller check, month after month, year after year, while a bigger one was sitting there the whole time. I am Henry Cole. In the next few minutes, I will show you exactly what these survivor benefits are, the one clever timing move that can add thousands of dollars over your lifetime, the age rules that trip people up, and how to make sure Social Security actually pays you every dollar you are owed. One quick note before we start. This is general information, not financial or legal advice. So always check your own situation with Social Security or a professional you trust. Now, let us talk about the check you may be missing. Let us start with what these benefits actually are. When you were married, your spouse spent a lifetime paying into Social Security, and they earned a benefit of their own. When they pass away, that earned benefit does not simply vanish. It can transfer to you, the surviving spouse, in the form of what is called a survivor benefit. Here is the key idea. As a surviving husband or wife, you can be entitled to as much as 100% of the benefit your late spouse was receiving or was entitled to receive. So if your husband or wife was collecting, say, $2,000 a month, you as the survivor could step up to that full $2,000 benefit in place of your own smaller one. And there is a detail here that matters enormously. If your spouse waited and delayed their Social Security to get a bigger check, those extra dollars they earned by waiting pass right along to you. Their patience becomes your higher benefit. So the survivor benefit is not some small consolation prize. For many people, it is the difference between a comfortable retirement and a tight one. But to get it right, you have to understand one rule that confuses almost everybody. Here is the rule that trips up nearly everyone. So let me make it very clear. When it comes to your own Social Security and a survivor benefit, you do not get to collect both at the same time and stack them on top of each other. Social Security does not work that way. Instead, you generally receive the higher of the two. If your own benefit is larger, you keep your own. If the survivor benefit is larger, you move up to that one. Now, at first, that might sound a little disappointing, but stay with me, because hidden inside this rule is the single most valuable opportunity in this entire subject. You see, even though you can only collect one at a time, your survivor benefit and your own retirement benefit are treated as two completely separate things. And because they are separate, you are allowed to do something with them that you cannot do with almost any other Social Security benefit. You are allowed to switch. You can take one benefit now and switch to the other one later. And that one little word, switch, is exactly where the real money is hiding. This is the move that most widows and widowers never hear about, and it can be worth tens of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. So listen closely. Because your survivor benefit and your own benefit are separate, you can claim one of them early while you let the other one keep growing. Let me give you an example, so it is crystal clear. Imagine a woman who loses her husband at age 60. She has a small benefit of her own, but if she waits until 70 to claim it, delayed retirement credits will make her own benefit much larger. So here is what she can do. She can claim the survivor benefit now, at 60, and start receiving income right away. And at the very same time, she leaves her own benefit completely untouched, letting it grow year after year, all the way to 70. Then, at 70, when her own benefit has grown to its maximum, she switches over to her own, if by then it is the bigger of the two. She got 10 years of income from the survivor benefit, and she still ends up collecting the largest possible check of her own. Or it can work the other way around. She might take her own smaller benefit early and then switch up to the full survivor benefit later at her full retirement age. The point is this: you have a choice, and choosing the right order can add a small fortune over the years. Most people never even know the choice exists. Now, here is something that surprises a lot of people, and it is genuinely good news. Your own Social Security retirement benefit cannot start until age 62. at the very earliest. But a survivor benefit is different. As a surviving spouse, you can begin claiming a survivor benefit as early as age 60. And if you are disabled, it can start even earlier. At 50, that is a full 2 years before your own retirement benefit could ever begin. And it can be a real lifeline for someone who has just lost their partner and the income that came with them. But there is a trade-off you need to understand. If you claim that survivor benefit before your full retirement age, the monthly amount is reduced. Claim it right at 60, and you might receive only around 71% of the full amount. Wait until your full retirement age, and you get the whole 100%. So the earlier you claim, the smaller each check, but the sooner the money starts. And that trade-off is exactly why the timing and the switching strategy we just talked about matter so much. There is no single right answer for everyone. It depends on your health, your other income, and the size of each benefit. Which brings us to a rule that has cost people their benefits entirely, simply because of a birthday. This next rule is one of the most important, and one of the cruelest if you get it wrong. So please, remember it. It is about remarriage, and it all comes down to one number, age 60. Here is how it works. If you are a widow or widower and you remarry before you turn 60, you generally give up your right to collect survivor benefits on your late spouse's record for as long as that new marriage lasts. But if you wait and you remarry at age 60 or later, you keep your survivor benefits completely. That new marriage does not affect them at all. Think about what that means. Two people could be in the exact same situation, but the one who remarries at 59 could lose a valuable benefit, while the one who waits just a little longer and remarries at 60 keeps every single penny. It can literally come down to the timing of a wedding. Now, I am not telling you to plan your love life around Social Security, but if you are a widow or widower who is thinking about remarrying and you are anywhere near that age of 60, this is absolutely something to know before you set the date. A short conversation with Social Security first could protect thousands of dollars. Now, you might be thinking, surely Social Security will just tell me all of this and make sure I get the biggest check. And I truly wish I could tell you that always happens. But here is the honest truth. Social Security will generally pay you the benefit that you apply for. They process your claim, but they do not always sit you down and walk you through every clever timing strategy or point out that you could take one benefit now and switch to a bigger one later. In fact, government watchdogs have found real cases where widows were paid less than they were entitled to simply because no one explained the smartest way to claim. The system is not trying to cheat you, but it is complicated. The offices are busy, and the responsibility very often falls on you to know what to ask for. And that, honestly, is the whole reason I am making this video. Because the difference between the person who knows to ask about switching benefits and the person who does not can be tens of thousands of dollars over retirement. Knowing the right question is half the battle. So let us make sure you know exactly what to avoid and exactly what to say. Let me walk you through the mistakes that quietly cost surviving spouses the most money, so you can steer clear of every single one. The first mistake is not knowing the survivor benefit exists at all, and simply living on a benefit that is smaller than the one you are owed. If your late spouse had a larger benefit than yours, you may be leaving real money on the table right now, this very month. The second mistake is claiming the two benefits in the wrong order. Remember the switching strategy. Grabbing the wrong benefit first, without letting the other one grow, can shrink your lifetime income by a great deal. The third mistake is remarrying before 60 without knowing the rule and accidentally giving up a benefit you never had to lose. The fourth mistake is forgetting the one-time death payment. Social Security offers a small, one-time payment of $255 to an eligible surviving spouse, but you usually have to apply for it, and there is a time limit. It is not a fortune, but it is yours, so claim it. And the fifth mistake is simply not asking. Walking into that office or making the call and only answering the questions they ask you, instead of clearly saying, I am a widow, and I want to understand all of my options, including switching between my own benefit and the survivor benefit. That one sentence can change everything. So let us talk about how to actually get this right, step by step. First, do not assume anything is automatic. If your spouse has passed away, contact Social Security to report it and to ask specifically about survivor benefits. You usually cannot apply for survivor benefits online, so you will likely need to call them or visit an office in person. Second, when you talk to them, be clear and be direct. Tell them you want to understand your survivor benefit, your own benefit, and whether you can claim one now and switch to the other later. Use that word, switch. Ask them to compare the amounts for you at different ages so you can see your choices side by side. Third, gather your documents ahead of time. That usually means your late spouse's death certificate, your marriage certificate, both of your social security numbers, and your bank information. Having these ready makes the whole thing go much smoother. And fourth, if your situation is at all complicated, if there are big differences between the two benefits or real questions about timing, it can be well worth sitting down with a financial advisor who truly knows Social Security before you lock in a decision. Because once you make certain choices, they can be difficult or even impossible to undo. A little care here can protect years of income. Let us bring it all together. Because this is one of those things that, once you understand it, you can make sure it never quietly costs you or someone you love. So here is the whole picture, in plain terms. When a spouse passes away, the survivor can be entitled to as much as 100% of that spouse's benefit, including any extra they earned by waiting. You collect the higher of your own benefit or the survivor benefit, not both, but because they are separate, you can claim one early and switch to the other later, and that is where the real money lives. Survivor benefits can start as early as 60. Remarrying before 60 can cost you those benefits, while remarrying at 60 or later does not. And Social Security will usually only pay you what you know to ask for. So here is your one assignment. If you have lost a spouse, or you know someone who has, do not just accept the first number Social Security gives you. Call them and say clearly, I want to understand all of my survivor options, including switching between my benefits. That single conversation could be worth thousands of dollars a year. If this helped you, please share it with a widow or widower in your life, because this is exactly the kind of thing that nobody tells them until it is too late. This is Henry Cole. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next one.